actually, guys, I think I gave you the wrong page. Hold on. Let me go back to my bird book. Yeah, okay. So in the frog book, you need to be on page 20. I'm sorry. I said 18. We need to be on page 20 because we're talking about the Amazon horned frog. Page 20 in this frog book, we're talking about the Amazon horned frog. So again, yesterday we read this paragraph and we read the paragraph in the green bubble. Does anybody remember what we learned about the Amazon horned frog? Carmen, do you have a question or are you answering my question?
Answering your question.
What do you remember learning about the Amazon horned frog?
The Amazon horned frog can grow to reach the size of a small dinner plate.
Perfect. So yesterday we learned that the Amazon horned frog can grow the size of a small dinner plate. What else did we learn about the Amazon horned frog yesterday? If you don't remember, look in your book on page 92. Megan, what else did we learn about the Amazon horned frog yesterday?
They are mean.
They're mean. What else? So they're mean, they're big, and we said that they grow to the size of a small dinner plate. Okay, what else did we learn about the Amazon horned frog yesterday? Now, I know Cody wasn't here, so I'm not asking Cody. But Devin, do you remember anything about the Amazon horned frog from yesterday?
That they hunt down his prey.
That they do hunt down their prey. Anything else that we want to add to that before we move on to the next paragraph? Well, yesterday I learned that the Amazon horned frog has a very big, wide mouth. And we learned yesterday that they can open their mouth the size of their body. So let's look up the Amazon horned frog again. Images. So they have a pretty big mouth. Pretty big mouth. This is the size of a horned frog, and that story or the paragraph that we read yesterday, so they can open up their mouth the size of their body. That's what I learned yesterday. They could open up their mouth the size of their body. Okay. The Amazon horned mouth can open up its mouth the size of its body. Okay. Who can tell me what they wrote in the second row? So I know Megan, I know Devin, Carmen. Good morning, Morgan. What did you write in the second row? What did you learn about the frog, the Amazon horned frog in the second row? Go ahead, Carmen.
I learned that the Amazon frog is mean, and it was open his mouth. And the last thing is the Amazon frog is open his mouth the size of his body.
Thank you, Carmen. Yeah. Thank you, Carmen. Megan, are you raising your hand?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What did you write in the second row?
I wrote that their mouth is really big.
Yeah.
And that they're mean.
Okay, so again, we did the first row together. You're supposed to do the second row by yourself. Now we're moving on to the third row. The third row is called patient predator. Before we move on, does anybody know what the word patient means? Does anybody know what the word patient means? Devin, what does the word patient mean?
like wait there.
That you wait there, or you're waiting on something. Perfect. And what does the word predator mean? Who knows what the word predator means? So yesterday we learned that prey means food. So what is predator? Megan, what does predator mean?
Predators mean that you're hunting for something. You're hunting for prey.
Good. So a predator is an animal that hunts for prey. Okay, I'm gonna type that in the chat for anybody that needs a definition for the word. So a predator is an animal that hunts for food. Okay, and we said that patient means to wait on something. Sorry, I'm texting. I'm typing it in the chat on my phone. That's why you hear those little keys. All right. Would anybody like to take a shot at reading this paragraph for us? Go ahead, Devin. Go ahead and read that paragraph for us.
Amazon horn frogs are.
So actually, I don't know this word either. So we are going to ask Google. Give me 1 second. Let's ask Google. Again, teachers don't know all the words, so she's going to look it up.
Voracious. I don't know the words. How can you look
Megan,
it up?
Megan. I was trying to play the word. So hold on to your question. I'll answer that in a minute. Let's hear Google say it first.
Voracious.
So the word is voracious. Megan, to go back to your question, if you don't know what a word means, or if you don't know how to say it, if you see it, you can just spell it into the chat. That's why I always tell you guys, if you can't say the word, you can still spell it. As long as you see the word, you can still spell it or say the letters in it, and we can type it into Google. We can ask Google how to say the word or ask Google what it means. I'm not saying use Google all the time, but I am saying that Google is very helpful when you don't know how to say a word or you don't know what it means. And even as myself as a teacher, I have never heard this word before, so I didn't know how to say it. Does that answer your question, Megan? Megan, did that answer your question?
Yes.
All right, let's listen to it one more time so we can hear how to say it again.
Voracious.
Okay, this word is voracious, and it means wanting or devouring. So devouring means to eat, or to eat great quantities of food. So voracious just means that an animal wants and eats a great deal or a lot of food. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Devin. That word is voracious.
Voracious part.
Does anybody know that word? That C word that he's trying to say? Okay, that word is carnivores. Carnivores means meat eaters. Go ahead, Devin. You can continue reading.
They ambush their prey by sitting quietly and waiting for it to approach. The reports say before
Striking.
striking with a set and snipe other dogs. Zombie frogs are pig eaters. They mostly live on a diet of ants eaters. Mostly they live on
Keep going. You're doing a fabulous job.
But they will try to eat my ants. Any animal smaller than themselves, mice,
and occasionally
rats. They don't always get it right, and may try to take on a way to hit it right, and may try to take it on and that is too big for them to stomach.
All right. Thank you, Devin, so much for reading. Again, when you practice reading, you become better at it. So I'm going to read it one more time. Patient predator. Horned Amazon frogs are voracious carnivores. They ambush their prey by sitting quietly and waiting for it to approach before striking with a sudden snap of their jaws. Amazon horned frogs aren't picky eaters. Mostly they live on a diet of ants and other insects. But they will try to eat any animal smaller than themselves, including mice and occasionally rats. They don't always get it right and may try to take on an animal that is too big for them to stomach. All right, we're going to take this one sentence at a time, and we're going to try to figure out what we're learning in each sentence. But first, I want to thank Devin for reading for us. And please, please, please make sure that you are practicing reading. That's how you become better. So thank you, Devin, again for reading our paragraph. So patient predators. Devin told us that patient means to wait. And predators are animals that eat other animals. So what do we think a patient predator is? The word patient means to wait. And the word predator means an animal that eats other animals. What do we think this title means? What do we think the title means? Somebody take a guess at it or a stab at it. Remember, this is how we learn. We know what the two words mean separately. What do they mean together? What is a patient predator? Go ahead, Carmen. What do you think a patient predator is?
Means they're waiting for something.
Okay, what are they waiting for?
I mean, they are. Oh, they are.
What are they?
They get. I'm just about to take one so hard.
It's okay. Take your time.
It's the C word or the V word.
So take your time. You said it means they're waiting for something. Who is waiting for something?
Not the predator, but the predator. Oh, they mean they're hunting for something.
Good. Thank you, Carmen. So I'm going to type that right here in this box, right under the title. This is on page 92. I want to make sure that we understand what we're reading about. So we're talking about a patient predator. A patient predator is an animal that waits on its food. So this is what this section is about. It's an animal that waits on its food. Thank you, Carmen.
You're welcome.
A patient predator is an animal that waits on its food. Okay, I would write that down in the same box that I did. Again, this is showing us how to use our vocabulary words to turn into a sentence that we can understand. Because we know what the word patient means. It means to wait. And we know what a predator means. A predator is an animal that eats other animals. If we know what those two words mean, then we can formulate a sentence or a phrase to break it down for us to understand what it's saying. Okay, so it says that the Amazon horned frogs are voracious carnivores. Does anybody remember what the word voracious means? If you don't, you can go back to the chat because I did type it in the chat for you. What does voracious mean? Go ahead, Devin. What does voracious mean?
Voracious means to eat a lot.
To eat a lot. And what does the word carnivores mean?
Carnivores is a meat eater.
A meat eater. So if we were to have to put this sentence in our own words, what would we say? And that question doesn't go to Devin, it goes to everyone. What would we say a Amazon horned frog is?
It's voracious.
Can we replace voracious with another word? If so, what will we replace it with?
Carnivores.
What are carnivores?
Are meat eaters. Meat eaters.
Okay. So thank you, Devin, for giving us the definitions. If I ask you to explain to your sister what a voracious carnivore is, what would you tell her?
Actually, that it is a meat eater.
That does what?
That eat meat.
Good. So Devin said that if he was to explain this to his sister, he would tell her that an Amazon horned frog is a meat eater that eats a lot. Perfect. That is a great sentence. A Amazon horned frog is a meat eater that eats a lot. That's all that sentence says. So we just learned 2 new vocabulary words. So we learned that Amazon horned frogs are meat eaters that eat a lot. Does everybody understand how me and Devin came to that conclusion? Or does everybody understand how me and Devin was able to rewrite that sentence so we could understand it?
Yes, Miss, yes, I understand that one.
Thank you, Carmen. Okay, I have Morgan on the line, I have Megan on the line, and I have Cody on the line. Am I missing anybody? Nope. So you 3, do you understand how we rewrote that sentence?
Yes.
You don't sound sure.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Okay. Morgan?
Hey, go back down with I wasn't done with the last part.
Okay, Cody. I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna keep summarizing. Hold on. Don't forget to raise your hand, please. Okay. The second sentence, it says they ambush their prey by sitting quietly and waiting for it to approach before striking with a sudden snap of their jaws. I'm gonna read that one more time, and then I'm gonna ask somebody to put that in their own words. Do we know what the word ambush means first? Does anybody know what the word ambush means? Carmen, what do you think the word ambush means?
They are praying by sitting quietly and waiting for to ambush before striking with a sudden snap of their jaws.
Thank you, Carmen, for reading the sentence for us again. But do you know what the word ambush means?
Means they're praying by sitting quietly.
Okay, so she said that they're sitting quietly. There's one more part to that. Carmen is half right.
And waiting for it to repress.
So Carmen is half right. She said they're waiting quietly. What's the other part of ambush? Can somebody help her out?
Tackle somebody from behind.
Good. So ambush means to wait quietly and to attack by surprise or from behind, like Megan said. So ambush means to wait quietly and then surprise or attack the person or the animal. So it's saying that the horned frog waits and then sneaks up on its prey and then attack. That's what this sentence is saying. It's saying that the Amazon horned frog waits for their prey quietly and then sneaks up on its prey and then eat it or attack it. Thank you to Carmen and Megan for working together for us to summarize that sentence. So right now we have that Amazon horned frogs eat a lot of meat. The second sentence tells us that they ambush their prey or they wait quietly and attack their prey. The third sentence says that Amazon horned frogs aren't picky eaters. What does that mean, that they aren't picky eaters? So Morgan or Cody, what does it mean when you are not a picky eater?
Huh?
What does it mean when you are not a picky eater?
I wait for the food.
Say it again.
I wait for the food.
Not wasting food, it's the opposite.
Oh, the opposite.
What's the opposite of eating what's the opposite of wasting food?
Throwing it away.
What's the opposite of not wasting food?
Eating it.
You eat it. So a picky eater is someone that eats everything. They don't waste nothing. Thank you, Cody. So a picky eater is someone or something that eats everything. They don't waste nothing. So I'm going to type that in the chat for you. So Cody, repeat what I said. Hold on, let me rephrase the question. What does it mean when it says that Amazon horned frogs are not picky eaters?
They eat the food.
They eat everything. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so let's summarize again. The first sentence, we learned that Amazon horned frogs love eating meat. They eat a lot of meat. The second sentence, we learned that the Amazon horned frog ambush or attack their prey by surprise. And then the third sentence, we learned that Amazon horned frogs eat everything. They eat everything. They don't waste nothing. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next sentence. Mostly they live on a diet of ants and other insects, but they will try to eat any animal smaller than themselves, including mice and occasionally rats. Who can summarize that sentence for me? Go ahead, Devin. Go ahead and summarize for us. What is that sentence saying?
It says, mostly they live on a diet for ants and other insects, but they would try to eat any animals that are smaller than themselves, including mice and
Occasionally
rats. Mice is rats.
No, so mice and rats are two different things. So let's look that up as well. I want to make sure that we're clear on that. So thank you, Carmen. Occasionally means mostly or sometimes. So rats versus mice. So mice are smaller. I'm definitely going to show you the difference, but mice are usually smaller. So can everybody see my screen? So although they look the same, this is a mouse. So they're smaller and cute. This is a rat. They are really big and they eat almost everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. They will eat socks. They will eat other animals. They will eat boxes. They eat everything. Whereas mice, they kind of eat grass. They eat vegetables and fruits. But a rat eats everything.
Why do it look like the mice taste like a squirrel?
I don't know. Squirrels are cute, so I'm assuming that mice look cute as well, but I don't know the answer to that question. Yep, so here is another example. It says small, so a house mouse, they have small feet and small a head. They have pointed snouts, which is their nose, and they have large ears, and they're usually light brown. So honestly, mice are the size of your hand. Mice are about the size of your hand, their whole body. A rat is heavy and thick body. They have a blunt trunk. So that means that their nose is like squished in. And they have very short ears, and they're very dark. So if you put one hand up, one hand is the size of a mouse. If you put two hands together, that is the size of a rat. Rats are really big. So if you hold one hand up, a baby mouse, or actually a mouse, an adult mouse can fit in your hand. If you put two hands together, so make a cup with your hands, that's how big a rat is. So it's saying that the Amazon horned frog can eat a mouse, but can also eat a rat. Yeah, rats are really big. See if I can find a. Yeah, rats are really big. I'm not sure if I can find a bigger picture of them. Okay. Thank you, Devin, for rereading that sentence for us. But what is this sentence telling us? If somebody had to put it in one sentence or one word, what is it telling us? Or a phrase? What is this sentence telling us about the Amazon horned frogs? Go ahead, Carmen. What is this sentence telling us about the Amazon horned frogs?
They are mostly talking about mostly they live on a dirt of any ants and other animals.
So I'm gonna pause you for a second. Carmen, do you know what the word diet means?
Means you eat vegetable.
Okay, so diet is what you eat. So this sentence is telling us the diet or what the Amazon horned frogs eat. So Carmen, what is the diet like for Amazon frog, or what do they eat?
Mice and rats.
Okay, what else do they eat? They do eat mice and rats. What else do they eat?
They eat hamsters.
Does it say hamsters?
No. They eat they will try. They eat everything.
They eat everything. What an animal or a person eats. So the word diet means what an animal or a person eats. So this is telling us that the Amazon horned frog eats ants and other insects, but they also eat mice and sometimes they eat rats. Thank you, Carmen, for summarizing for us.
You're welcome.
All right, so we learned in that first sentence again, we learned that Amazon horned frogs, they eat a lot of meat. We learned in the second sentence that they surprise attack their prey, so meaning that they sneak up on their prey. We also learned in the third sentence that Amazon frogs eat everything. They eat everything. And in the fourth sentence, we learn the diet or what the Amazon horned frog mostly eats. Like Carmen said in the chat, they mostly eat ants, insects, mice, or occasionally rats. Does everybody understand those four sentences before I move on? Does everybody understand what each sentence means?
Yeah.
Okay. And the last sentence I'm going to read for you, and I'm going to tell you what this sentence means. So it says, they don't always get it right, and they try to take on an animal that is too big for them to stomach. So that's saying that even though they do mostly eat ants, mice, and rats, there are some animals that they try to eat that is too big. So when they try to eat it, it doesn't digest well in their stomach. So how many of you guys in class have accidentally overeaten? So meaning you ate too much that your stomach hurt. How many of you have accidentally overeaten? Meaning you ate too much that your stomach hurt.
Me.
Yep. So this is that last sentence is saying, I know everybody has done it at least one time. So this sentence right here is saying that the Amazon frog does usually eat ants and other insects and mice and rats, but sometimes they eat something that's too big that upsets their stomach. But sometimes they eat something that is too big that upsets their stomach. All right, I am going to summarize all the sentences one more time. And then I'm going to let you, we're going to write down as a group what we learned from this paragraph. So the first sentence again, I'm going to highlight it. It says that Amazon horned frogs eat a lot of meat. So Amazon's horned frogs eat a lot of meat. The second sentence explains that Amazons surprise attack or sneak up on their prey. The third sentence says that Amazons eat almost everything. They eat almost everything. The fourth sentence says that mostly or some of the times an Amazon horned frog eats ants, maybe butterflies or spiders. They also eat mice and occasionally or sometimes rats. And the last sentence says, but sometimes they do overeat and their stomach hurts. All right, so let's summarize together. So going back to page 92. Going back to page 92, and I'm gonna type it. This is page 92 in your book. I'll wait till everybody gets there. If you're cold, go ahead and get a blanket. If you're cold, get a blanket. Again, I'm on page 92 in your bird book, and we're gonna write down what we read together. Starting with Morgan. Morgan, what is something that you learned about the Amazon horned frog in the paragraph we just read together? What did you learn about the Amazon horned frog?
That it eats mice and rats.
Okay. So the frog eats.
I can't see your screen.
Mice. Oh, you can't see my screen. Hold on one second. And rats. Okay. What else do they eat, Morgan? Okay, Morgan, what else do they eat? What else did it say they eat? Somebody help her out. What did it say that the frogs eat? She said mice and rats. What else do they eat?
Meat.
Meat. Sorry, I didn't hear you, Devin. You said meat? Okay. So the frog is a carnivore and eats mice, rats, and ants. Okay. Thank you to Devin and Morgan for that sentence. I'm going to make it bigger for everybody to see.
Same as Benny.
Morgan, make sure you're on mute, please. Thank you. Okay, Cody, what else did we learn from that paragraph? We learned what they eat. What else did we learn about them? What else did we learn about the horned frog in the paragraph we just read together?
That they wait for their food and eat all of it.
Good, that they wait and ambush their food. All right, perfect. Thank you to Devin. Thank you to Cody, and thank you to Morgan for that paragraph. And there were a lot of vocabulary words we did not know. I'm just going to add two. I'm going to put the one that I did not know.
Voracious.
Which is voracious, and it means to eat a lot. To eat a lot. You're going to put one word that you did not know what it meant in that box. Again, you can write your sentences in these two boxes right here. As I'm typing it, it won't let me do that. But you are able to type in this, to write in this box if you need it. Good morning, Latrell. Latrell, we just read paragraph 3 together as a whole group. And now we're writing down what we read in our bird book on page 92. We read paragraph 3 as a whole group. And now we are just summarizing it. And we're writing down what we read. You're fine, Latrell. Sometimes we oversleep. That's fine. Megan, we're in our bird book on page 92, and you're copying this down in the third row.